How to build a trip around one perfect day. Oh, welcome back, friends, to the Traveling Cheesehead podcast, where we talk about places with personality, food with a story, and road trips that actually feel like travel. I'm Dannelle Gay, your host, and today we're talking about a simple idea that can completely change how you plan trips. One perfect day. Not a perfect itinerary. Not a packed schedule, not a spreadsheet that makes you tired just looking at it. Just one day. Because when trips feel overwhelming, it's usually not because we don't have enough time. It's because we're trying to make every day do way too much. So today, I want to show you how building a trip around one perfect day can make travel calmer, more meaningful, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Why do trips feel overwhelming before they even start? Well, a lot of trips fall apart before we even leave the driveway. We open a browser, we start researching, we find 10 must-do lists, and suddenly everything feels like it's super important. Every museum, every restaurant, every neighborhood, all the side trips. We start asking impossible questions like, how do we fit this all in? Oh, what if we miss something? Are we doing this right? And before long, planning feels like pressure instead of excitement to explore a new area. The problem isn't time, it's our focus. Here's the thing most people just don't realize. You don't need a perfect trip. You need one perfect day. One day that captures why you're going to that area. One day that reflects what you care about the most. When you anchor your trip around that day, everything gets easier. Everything. You stop forcing things in. You stop second guessing every choice. You let the trip breathe. Now, what does a perfect day really mean? Let's clear this up. A perfect day doesn't mean non-stop activity. A perfect day doesn't mean that there are no hiccups. A perfect day doesn't mean that there's perfect weather. A perfect day is simply a day that if everything went sideways, you'd still say, honestly, that day alone made the trip worth it. That's it. It could be the day you follow a food trail. It could be the day you spend outdoors. It could be the day you finally see that place you have always been curious about. The content of the day matters less than how the day feels. Now, how do you identify your one perfect day? Here's a question I ask myself when I'm planning any trip. If I could only do one thing while I'm there, what would I choose? Not what feels impressive. Not what everyone else says that there is to do. What would you choose? That answer is your anchor. Everything else becomes optional, not irrelevant, just flexible. Why this changes the way you plan so much? Once you identify your perfect day, planning shifts. You stop trying to spread energy evenly across every day. You stop worrying about whether you're missing something. Instead, you protect that one day. You give it space. You avoid stacking it with too much to do. You don't schedule a late night before it or a long drive after it, if you can help it. You treat it like a centerpiece, not just another square on the calendar to check off. There's magic to letting other days be good enough. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Not every day needs to be amazing. Some days can be travel days. Some days can be light days. Some days can be wandering days. And some days can be rest days. When you release the pressure on every day to be special, the special ones shine brighter. And ironically, those in-between days often surprise you. How does this work beautifully for road trips? Road trips and the perfect day planning, I think they're made for each other. Instead of planning every stop, you plan the moment. The day you explore a national or state park. The day you dive into a city's food scene. The day you follow a trail or a theme. The day you take a guided tour. Everything else becomes flexible, connective tissue. You're not rushing toward the end. You're moving toward meaning. A quick example, without over-planning. Let's say you're taking a 4-day road trip. Your perfect day might be day 2, exploring a historic downtown and food scene. That means day 1 can be a relaxed drive with a good first stop. Day 3 can be light, wandering or maybe even being in nature. Day 4 can be the journey home. Suddenly, the trip feels balanced, not crammed full to the last minute. Now, I think this reduces stress so much. When something goes wrong, weather, traffic, timing, it's easier to adjust. Why? Because you know what matters most. You're not scrambling to save everything. You're protecting the heart of your trip, and that is just a calmer way to travel. So one question for you to try on your next trip. Before your next adventure, ask yourself, what's the one day that I do not want to compromise? Answer that and plan nothing else differently. You will feel the shift almost instantly. Now, my friends, great trips don't come from perfect plans. They come from clarity. Building a trip around one perfect day gives you focus, it gives you flexibility, and it gives you permission to let the rest unfold. And once you try this approach, planning feels lighter, and I think traveling feels better. If this episode helped you rethink how you plan trips, I'd love it if you'd like, follow, and share the Traveling Cheesehead podcast. Send it to someone who loves planning, and also maybe someone who finds planning overwhelming. Until next time, my friends, keep your tank full, your plans flexible, and your curiosity wide open.